mean, in terms of that crone phase, how does Chariklo fit into that?
I think very strongly because the orbit length of Chariklo is about 63 to 64 years. And so to me, that's a real consolidation of a whole lot of very important aspects of the cronehood. And I think that there's an increasing capacity to value the quality of being. And I won't say rather than doing, because that's partly a thing of one's own very unique personal temperament.
Okay.
But I think it's important because as a society, we're quite addicted to doing,
Yeah.
and a lot of value is placed on people who do a lot and achieve a lot.
Yes.
And, the whole myth of progress has gotten wrapped up in that as well. So it's a huge pressure. And so to be able to live your life in such a way that you really do step off that, which doesn't mean you stop doing stuff, but you'll be coming from a different place inside you. And there's something very subtle about the Chariklo energy, which has this invisibility about it. It's so interesting because there's very little mention of her within the usual classic sources.
Mm.
And that's almost like that's part of what she's representing, because she was the wife of Chiron. The first time I ever thought about her, it was in the context of thinking, oh, well, Chiron was wounded and lived for a very long time, almost a millennium, according
Yes.
to Apollodorus, with this unhealable wound.
Yes.
And so who was looking after him? Well, surely it had to have been his wife.
Mm.
And also, she was co-mentor with Chiron of all the famous Greek heroes that he's associated with, and also some of the centaurs.
So in that sense, she's a mother, but in a different capacity, like a stepmother or a foster mother, and she's kind of a co-teacher. Yes, really interesting.
Yes, because they did actually have offspring, Chiron and Chariklo, and so she was certainly like his counterpart or helpmeet. And
Yes.
the way I tend to see them now is like a yin and a yang expression of the healing process itself.
Yes, because if you don't think of it like that, then Chiron becomes very gendered, and so does Chariklo, whereas it's very clear that both men and women go through a Chiron return.
Yeah,
So it makes sense that then, men can also have a Chariklo aspect to them too.
you
Experience.
definitely.
Yes. Just as we all have a sun and a moon and so on. In that sense, it's similar.
Yes, and Chariklo began her life as a water nymph, or in some sources a wood nymph, but usually
Mhm.
it's water.
Okay.
And yet she was the wife of the centaur Chiron. I haven't found any source anywhere which describes how she began as a nymph and ended up as a centaur. Well, we don't know how she ended up because she's not mentioned again in any source that
Yes.
I found after he dies. So from one
Interesting.
point of view, you could gender that and say, "Oh, well, typical because she's a woman or a female version of, she gets left out." But it could be something way more subtle, as if maybe she was never incarnate
Yes,
in an
that's
being half animal, half human. She may have
yes.
been, representing what Jung might have called the anima. And so the direct counterpart of Chiron, whereby she was actually his teacher.
Yes, like a spirit guide or something
Yeah,
like that.
absolutely.
Yes,
And that's
yes,
also
yes.
very common in several different cultures, I believe, where part of the initiation process of a medicine man or woman or shaman is that they do have a spirit partner.
Yes, I mean, even in the Sufi tradition, this idea
Mhm.
of the beloved.
Yes.